Hey guys, this is Daniel. We are at the beginning of the month of Adar. We're about a week away from the holiday of Purim, and the Talmud says, "Mishenichnas Adar marbim besimcha." When Adar comes in, we increase joy, increase our joy. Okay, so I have two questions. The first question is, why in Adar? Why not other months of the year? So the easy answer is because in Adar we have the celebration of Purim, the holiday of Purim, the story of Esther and Mordechai against the evil, the wicked Haman, and there was a big victory and many miracles and wonders that happened, and so we celebrate, which is a great reason for celebration. So I would ask another question. Why the beginning of the month? If it's about Purim, so let's celebrate on Purim, which we do. And another question is about simcha, about joy, about happiness. I mean, yeah, it's a good idea to be happy, but what if you're not happy? What do you do? I know some people. There is one guy that his wife told him that she wants him to sign the papers. She wants a divorce. Okay, and then his business is doing bad. He's losing money, and then this morning he's looking in the mirror and he realized for the first time that he's 50-pound overweight. Right? And then he looks closer and says, "Oh my God, I'm losing hair." so so how can you tell somebody like this, just be happy, increase joy, as if he's going to push a button and everything will turn great, and he'll be a happy person. Okay, so these two questions are very, very important to ask. The short answer, and I give you the short answer because it's a short video. Beginning of the month of Adar, the month of Pisces, the last month of the year, just before Aries, before Nisan, beginning of the year, according to the Torah, the first month of the year. So the month of Pisces, when we, from astrology standpoint, conventional and Kabbalistic, each one of the signs takes care of a portion, of a slice of our tikkun. Okay, and so we start with Aries in the sun, and then we go month by month, and supposedly every month give us the opportunity to deal with our ego, with our connection to materialistic world, how to communicate with our friends, how to share, how to create transformation through the year. Now, many of the times we fail to tackle our challenges head on, so we end up either denying it, pushing it aside, sweeping things under the mat, ignoring things, walking away from challenges. And so the end of the year comes and we still have like this heavy baggage we didn't take care of. So the month of Pisces is the month that, if we are on a spiritual path, everything goes up to the surface. And then we can actually deal with the last things we didn't, so we can finish our tikkun, or at least the part of tikkun that is related to this time of our lives. Okay, so it's really the end of the tikkun. So either starting clean slate in the coming year, or maybe finish the worldly tikkun. Okay, so that's one reason we increase joy. Now, what is joy? We need to ask, what is happiness? When are we happy? Usually, we are happy as a result of something that happened, some success. Our business is going fine. We made a lot of money. There was a good deal that came through. We have new friendship, and or we got a present from somebody. So we smile. Wow, you know, somebody cares for me. More people like me. People love me. So as a result, we feel the joy. We're happy when something happy happens. But here we're talking about the true happiness in essence. And the true happiness, if you look at two people, one is super happy, the other one is depressed. So you see, the happy person is very extroverted, right? So he's smiling, he's hugging people, he's talking. He feels that he has a lot to share with others. He wants to participate. He wants to be a part of. He's ready to do things, ready to share with others, to help, give a helping hand. When you look at the depressed guy, he's introverted. He's going to himself. He's not interested. He doesn't want to go out, doesn't want to talk to anybody. Just leave me alone. And he's disconnecting. Okay? And it seems like he's into himself. So happiness is related with sharing, feeling of sharing, the feel that I have abundance and I want to share it with others. For that reason, one of the concepts of the beginning of the month of Adar, the Talmud says, Mashmi'in al hashekalim. So the head of the community, the rabbi, is talking to the congregation about sharing, about giving donations, about giving machatzit shekel, related to Purim, giving to the poor, helping others, which is all expression of happiness. And so it's about awakening the happiness, awakening the care, and maybe through the actions we increase the joy. When you're participating, when you're volunteering, when you give, you feel lighter, you feel better, you feel happiness. Okay, so this is the idea of Adar, the beginning of Adar, that we increase the happiness because we are coming to the end of the tikkun, at least for this year, for the past year, if not for the entire world. Maybe it is the end and the beginning of the coming of the Messiah and redemption, etc., and so on. Now, the other thing is the Purim. Purim is a holiday that the centerpiece of the holiday is the reading of the Megillah, Megillat Esther, the scroll of Esther, or the book of Esther. And we know that there are 24 books related to the Jewish religion, and 5 of them are the 5 books of Moses, the Torah, and then others are the prophets and the scriptures. So one of the books is Esther. And it says an interesting thing, again, in the Talmud, in Tractate Megillah, Secret Megillah, it says in the future to come, all the books that I mentioned, 24 books, are going to be canceled, except one, which is the book of Esther, which is peculiar. I mean, first of all, why cancel all the books? And then why the book of Esther will remain out of all the other books? Some say the 5 books of Moses will remain, others say it wouldn't. So, but the point is that the book of Esther has something very, very special that is not going to end until the end of times. Okay, now the story of Esther and from historical standpoint, is about, it's a stretch of 12 years in history, about 2,000 years ago. So it's 12 years, and it's a story about the Jewish community in Iran, in Persia of that time. On that time, Persia was an empire that controlled the whole world, literally the whole world, and they had 127 countries, okay, that were all controlled by the Persians, the Persian king. Persian king was Ahasuerus at that time, and then the story goes through, something happened. There was a big party, a big feast. The king and his wife disobeyed him, and then he chased his wife out. He actually executed her, and then long story short, the Esther and Mordechai, that were cousins. Esther became queen, and Mordechai is kind of the advisor. He's in the background all through the story, and then at the end they take control. She's the queen, and he's the main advisor of the king, etc., and so on. But just before that, there is a story of Haman, which is a direct descendant of Agag, the king of Amalek, the enemy from the desert, the famous Amalek, and he decides he is going to destroy the Jewish people, just kill everyone. Now, if you're not familiar with the story, you should probably get familiar. But there is a background story that happens just before that, and it is mentioned in the Talmud. And the story is that the final part of the exile was about 70 years before the end of the construction of the temple in Jerusalem, the second temple. Okay, 70 years before. And there was a prophecy that they were going to build the temple. So the Jewish community in Israel started to get ready and gather materials and really prepare everything. And the other people in that lived in the area were inquiring, like, what are you guys doing? Say, well, we're preparing to build a temple. And so the haters said, but you don't have permission from the king, and how can you do such a thing? And it's illegal. And they started fighting. And in the end, they decided to send 2 representatives that will go to Persia, will go to Shushan, the capital, the Hamadan of today, and talk to the king, and hopefully we'll get the permission, or maybe not. So they send 2 people, one from the Jewish community, that was Mordechai. He was the head of the Sanhedrin, very, very important, very high, elevated spiritual person. And from the haters, they sent Haman, the negative, evil Haman that later on wanted to destroy Jewish people in Persia. Now, so they took the road, and Haman was a kind of a playboy. He liked to eat, to drink, have good time, and he was eating and drinking without really paying attention to how much food he had. And Mordechai came to him and said, listen, if you're going to continue like this, you're going to end your food and water, and you'll be stuck, because I'm not going to give you from my food. And Haman said, that's okay, don't worry about it. And lo and behold, short time later on, he finished the food and the water he had, and he came to Mordechai and he said, listen, I know I should have listened, but can you help me? Can you give me some food and water? Otherwise, I could die in the desert. And Mordechai said, no, I told you I have food for myself, and I cannot give it to you. So, so Haman, of course, begged for his life. He said, please, I'll do anything. I'll do absolutely anything you want. Just give me some food. And Mordechai said, you know what? Okay. So I want you to be my slave. I want you to be my slave, and I'll give you food as much as you want, and save your life. Haman said, no problem. Where do you want me to sign? So they didn't have a proper documentation, but Mordechai gave his sandal, and they wrote on the sandal, I am Haman, son of Hamedata, Ha'agagi, from descendant of the king Agag of Amalek, sold to be slave of Mordechai Yehudi, and signed his name, and that was it. So, and Mordechai gave him food, and that was the end of that story, the background story. Now, fast forwarding the middle of the story of Esther, so he says that Haman became second in command to King Ahasuerus, and he was given a lot of respect, and the king ordered that for everyone to bow to Haman. Bow to Haman. And but when he passed by Mordechai wouldn't bow to him. Would not. And it says in the story, it says that Haman was filled with rage, burning anger and rage against Mordechai, but there was nothing he could do. Now, why is that? So it says, because every time that he approached Mordechai, Mordechai showed him, you see the sandal? Remember? You are my slave in reality. Anyway, so that's the background story, and the rest is, the evolution and how the story is actually unfolding to the big victory in the end. But what we need to remember is that we're dealing here with two forces of Haman that represents Amalek. He's a direct descendant of Amalek. Amalek is an eternal enemy of humanity, we can say, and the power of Israel. Power of Israel is not necessarily state of Israel, but it's the consciousness of being Israel, which is the supernatural, to live in a world, to be in control, and to be completely connected to the forces of the universe. Okay, so this is an introduction, and I'm going to have probably 2 or 3 more videos about the meaning of Purim, and so I'll see you guys in the next video.